guys, welcome back to Linda's Pantry, and today it's bread day. I'm going to make Monday my standard bread day and maybe one other day during the week because it's hard to keep bread fresh. As you saw in the last video, when you don't have a ton of preservatives in the bread, it becomes difficult to keep it fresh. So I've got a couple of experiments that I'm going to do for you today, and I'll do another bread review. But I wanted to first show you my the results of the baguette recipe that comes out of this King Arther flour baker's companion. This baguette recipe is so delicious, and I showed you how fresh it stays, and everybody loved it. And it makes 3 baguettes, which is plenty for sandwiches. Now, I'm going to do the poolish today, and that's the starter. And it's when I first did it, I thought there is no way that's going to work. But guess what? It does. And we need cool. Oh, we need 2/3. Okay. So in this measuring cup, I'm going to put my poolish in there. So what I need is 1.25 cups of flour. 1.25 cups of flour. Ooh, make sure I got that right. That's a little bit too much. Thankfully, this is a left-handed, no, it's not, I guess. Well, it is kind of. Us lefties deal with the measuring cups like daily. I hate it. Okay, so there's 1.25 cups, and I'm gonna put this right down in here. And then I'm going to need 60-degree temperature water, and you want to use, anytime you're making bread, use filtered water so you don't have any chlorine or anything like that that might change the taste of your bread. We need 2/3 cup of that water and 1/8 teaspoon of yeast. That doesn't sound like much at all, does it? But tomorrow, after this has had a chance to ferment, tomorrow we will be adding the rest of the yeast. Now I've got my 1/4 teaspoon measuring spoon here, and I just put about a little bit, about half. Okay, you don't have to be exact. It'll still work out, I promise. So let me get the water. Okay, so I've got my 2/3 cup of cool water, 60 degrees. This is a slow fermentation. You put that in there, and this is where you go, huh, that's gonna work? It will, trust me. Okay, get this all incorporated, and you're gonna go, this is just a shaggy mess, and it is. It's just a really kind of a shaggy blob, just like that. And you look at it and you go, okay, I don't know how that's gonna work. Very elastic. At this point, you could actually work this pretty good on the counter, but you don't have to. It doesn't call for that. Now we're gonna do the fermenting process. And it calls for 12 hours, but when I did my baguette, I actually did a longer fermentation, which this one will be longer as well. And then when I get up in the morning, I can go ahead and finish the process. And it is kind of a long process, but I'm gonna tell you that if you have time one day a week, oh my gosh, make bread. Do your poolish the night before, and then do your bread making the next day, and you can knock out your baguettes, everything you need for the week. And I'm going to store the baguettes now to keep them a little fresher. I'm going to try storing them in the refrigerator and see if we can't get some longevity out of the bread. And even my sandwich bread, I think I might try that. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but my next sandwich bread is going to be a little bit different. So I'll be back when this has had a chance to do its fermentation. And you just leave it out at room temperature. And even though my house is really cool all the time, it still works. So remember the blob, and I'll show you what it turns into. All right, guys. Well, we're back, and I am excited. Now, when you're making the baguettes, and mine turned out absolutely beautiful. It is a little bit time consuming, but there's kind of a trick. If you really want the best flavor, they say to wait till your poolish has kind of domed before it collapses. It should be irregular looking and look like it's grown. that happens sometime in the middle of the night for me, because I usually do this the night before. But nevertheless, it's going to turn out okay. But if you want to look for that peak flavor, that's when they say you should do the rest of the recipe. So now that it's the next day and we're ready to finish the dough part, you're going to place all your ingredients in the mixing bowl and mix them for about 30 seconds. And you're going to have kind of a shaggy, dry mix. You need to then let it sit for 20 minutes for it to really absorb all the moisture of your poolish starter, your water, and everything can kind of get incorporated. And again, your water is cool. It's not hot like when you're proofing yeast for regular bread. And that's 2/3 of a cup of water. And we want a generous 2.5 cups of flour. So we'll go ahead and use the same measuring cup. 2. And it makes either 2 really long baguettes or 1 or 3 short ones. And 2.5, a little bit more. So it says generous, so go a couple tablespoons past. Okay. And I'm going to bring you in now because I want you to see the poolish starter, what it looks like after it's sat overnight. 2 teaspoons of salt and 1.5 teaspoons of yeast. 2 teaspoons of salt. And I've got black on again. I gotta get a white bread making shirt to wear. I usually wear white when I make spaghetti. Okay, so what did I say? 1.5 teaspoons of yeast. 1.5. Okay. And remember, it had 1/8 teaspoon in your poolish starter. That's kind of funny the name they gave it, but come on in close. Okay, so this is what it looks like. You know it's alive. I mean, all those bubbles and they're releasing the gases. So you're just going to take this and it's very sticky. It's very sticky, but it comes away from the side very easily too. You're going to get it out of there in one piece. So let's bring the mixer over and I'll go ahead and remove my starter. And I am going to try to do one on, because I want to perfect this recipe. It's so good. I want to see the difference in the taste by watching the starter to get that dome. If I can do it on the weekend, that would be fantastic. Here it comes. Big blob of, it starts out that shaggy little blob and ends up right there. And there you go. Get any of that excess off your okay. I don't want to waste any of that. All right, so now we're gonna mix this for 30 seconds and leave it alone. So our 20 minutes is up, and I want to kind of give you an idea of what this looks like. It's just a big mess. Now, it was pretty dry, but it's starting to absorb, and some of it is getting a little shiny up here, wet. That's exactly what you want, and you're gonna see that all of the water is absorbing into the flour, and that's basically what that 20 minutes is for. It's still a really hard dough. You don't want to add any more flour to it, and you're going to need this less time than you think, and it will have a rough texture to it. It won't be smooth like your other bread doughs. I'm going to let my machine struggle for a minute, and then I'll take over, and then we're going to set this in a a greased bowl, slightly greased bowl, and cover it and let it go for its long nap. And it takes a long time for this. As soon as this comes together in one ball and picks everything off the bottom, I'm done kneading. Okay, so 1 hour into this, I failed to tell you, you need to go ahead, and I set the timer. You need to go ahead and your dough, it has started to rise, and ooh, it smells really good. It smells like a very yeasty dough. And it's so good, you guys. What they have you do, let me bring the book over so I quote them. Okay, and Baguettes, it's a 1.5-page long recipe. So at first I was a little daunted by it, but they explain everything so good. That it's not scary. So after the first hour or more frequently, if the dough looks very slack or wet, and it kind of does, it's sticky but it's not sticking to my hands. Folding helps strengthen the gluten. To fold the dough, lift it out of the bowl, gently deflate and fold in half. Place it back in the bowl, and this expels the carbon dioxide that the yeast is creating. So that's what we're gonna do right now. Ooh, and it's soft, but you'll find in places like over here, it's still a little hard and lumpy, but at the end, it all works out. So you're just gonna go ahead and deflate, and you can see none of it is sticking to my hands. It's, you're not really kneading it. You're just gonna fold it in half, deflate it, make kind of a log, if you will, and fold it in half, curl it back up into a little braided knot or whatever you want to call it, and put your plastic wrap back over it. And I'm doing a classic Noreen's kitchen technique by using a plastic bonnet from the beauty supply because that's what I do for a living. And I like these like she does because you can reuse them, but like if you've got a dough that's gonna rise above, it's very easy to let it go ahead and rise. This one is not gonna do that. And I get the rest of that dough off my hand, and we're gonna put this back in the oven with the oven light on to let it finish the proofing. I'm gonna put the timer on for 1 more hour. I cannot wait. It's gonna be delicious. And okay, so our loaves, as you can see, have had a chance to rise, and it really didn't take that long. This rise goes pretty fast. This one is wanting to split. And I did cover it in plastic wrap that I sprayed with cooking spray so it doesn't pull on the dough and deflate it. We don't want to deflate it at this point. I did try to spread them out a little bit as they were rising, but they look beautiful. I'm very, very happy with this. So I've got my oven. Look at how beautiful. Okay, I've got my oven preheated at 500 degrees. Before I put it in there, you're gonna go ahead, you're gonna put them in the oven, and you're gonna reduce the temperature down to 475. But what we have to do first is we're gonna slash, and I've got a serrated steak knife. And you don't wanna hesitate, you just wanna slash your dough, because if you hesitate, you can deflate. This one wanted to deflate a little bit. I'm gonna get a different knife. You don't want to deflate your dough. That kind of did right there. We're going to go ahead and slash this one about 1/4 inch. These are better, I think. They're going to deflate a little bit, it looks like. Darn it. Anyways, it'll all be good. Then you go ahead, after you've slashed it, this spray bottle is clean. It has warm water, so warm to the touch. You want to spray these loaves down. This is going to create the steam that you're going to get in a commercial kitchen oven that has a steam oven. So spray them down heavily, put it in your 500 degree oven, turn the oven down to 475, and we're going to let these cook. They're going to be delicious. All right, guys, I'm excited. We'll be right back. When they're all done, they bake for about 20 minutes till golden brown, and when you bring them out, they should be singing. I'm going to take these are still really hot, but nice golden brown on the bottom. Very crispy. Oh, I'm super excited. I'm going to take this one to work to share with the girls, but you don't want to cut into these until, it's funny because the book says please don't cut into them. until they've had a chance to cool. But if you can't resist, they understand. So these baguettes are going to be for, actually they make great sandwiches. If you cut these in half when they're smaller like this and cut them in half, you have a really sturdy sandwich. And I'm going to be making some sourdough baguettes in the future here. One of my viewers is bringing me some sourdough starter, 2 different kinds. So I'm excited about that. And then this one, like I said, will go to work with me tomorrow to share with the girls. And isn't that beautiful? It really is. Okay, so I'll bring you back when we're gonna give it a taste test. So I've let the baguettes cool down to the point that I'm gonna go ahead and slice the mini baguette. I love these. These look very rustic. I absolutely love them. I was a little disappointed at deflating the dough a bit, but it rose right back up. I mean, this is a great size baguette. So, but I knew this was going to be smaller, so let's cut into that one. And we don't want to disappoint anybody. It smells incredible. And I don't know about you, but I want to hear this. Oh, and it gets soft in the center, and then you got to cut through that crust. Oh, look it's probably still a little warm, honestly. Hopefully I didn't ruin the crumb too much. Let it focus, and look at that. It smells incredible. Oh, it's beautiful. Really pretty. I'm excited. See how soft inside, but then you get that crusty outside that you want on a baguette. Oh, nice. Oh, and I did, when I took this out of the oven, it really did sing to me. And that means when the crust of the bread hits the cool air in the room, it starts to crackle as it cools. And they call that singing. So anyways, let's get some butter on this and see what it tastes like. Okay, I'm just gonna break off a piece here and give you a taste test. Let's let that focus, focus, focus. Oh, let's focus. Look at that. Yum. So delicious. I can't wait. Let's give it a taste and I'll let you know what I think. Oh my gosh. You guys. Oh my goodness. That is absolutely phenomenal. If you love bread, you've got to try this recipe. I may not have done it justice for you, but if you get the book and read the instructions and practice a couple times, I'm definitely going to be practicing more on this one. I've only made this twice, but it's delicious. It's everything I would hope for in a baguette, and I can't wait to share it with friends. Next year, I'm going to be giving these for Christmas. All right, guys. So guys, I just hope this inspires you to go ahead and try your hand at baking bread. And I can't thank Heather enough at the Needy Homesteader for gifting this to me. That was the sweetest gift I've had in a long time, and I've utilized it several times already, and I can't wait to practice making beautiful baguettes. Oh, I can't wait to take this to work tomorrow. I'm so excited. I promised the girls I would bring it. I'm also bringing a prime rib beef stroganoff with our leftover prime rib for lunch tomorrow. It'll be perfect with this baguette, and this is fantastic. It tastes like something you would get out of a bakery. Unbelievable. So I hope it inspires you to go ahead and try your hand at baking. Don't be afraid, because how bad could it be? You mess up, I don't know, 20 cents worth of dough, because really that's all it cost me. It probably is less because there's no sugar in this. There's really only flour, salt, water, yeast. So I really don't even think that I've spent that much. It was probably more like 10 cents for 3 baguettes. How much would you pay for that in the grocery store? Probably, I've paid $2.99 a piece. So to let somebody else do it. Yes, it is a long process. Okay, but you didn't have to do anything. You just leave it set. So, hope it inspires you. I hope you come back. I hope if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. It's free. And come back and watch. When you do that, right next to this subscribe button is a bell. Go ahead and hit that, and that notifies you whenever I upload. And you can come back for more delicious recipes. And I've got contests going on right now. I've got 2 giveaways going on. Go check that in the iCard above. I'll post those.